but there's no shame in being a reseller. If they knew what we made, they'd be thinking twice, right?
Life of a reseller. These guys, all of them, you can see it, all of us. Here's my car. Basically, this is how we do it. We go in here, we get books, everybody comes back in the back and sorts their bins. Everybody sorts the bins right here, just out in the heat. You get pretty hot sometimes.
Hey everyone, it's the Golden State Picker Mike, and we're behind our favorite place, Savers. And funny thing is today, a big goose egg at Savers. Nothing, zero. But that's the way it goes, right? So we keep forging on every day. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about some books again, and some things that we sold, and a few things that we picked up. They're kind of the usual thing. But today it was like strange. I just felt a weird presence today. Probably saw some of the video of the picking area where we're picking the books, where I'm going for the books. I've got other people around me. I've got all these other pickers who have bought stuff and are going through their items, and that's how we do it. That's kind of the way. It's like, it's not all glamorous. It's kind of a dirty job sometimes. So it's kind of strange how I hate to say it, but I kind of name my bins each time I look at them. It's kind of this game I play inside my mind. It's weird, but because inside each bin is people's lives, so to speak. It's kind of weird to think of it that way. But also, if you think about the things you're picking up at the Goodwills, the Savers, the garage sales, this is part of people's lives that you and I are taking. They obviously bought some of this stuff, and then we're picking it up and we're reselling it. And you're wondering, why did they buy? I sometimes wonder, why did they buy that? What were they using it for, or whatever? And it's kind of intriguing sometimes, especially the unusual items that you find, right? So it's no different when I'm looking through the bins. When I look through the bins, sometimes I see, it's really obvious what you see. It's like that one day when I found all those old books in the slip covers. I knew that person probably had passed away, and that's the family just basically dumping his books into a donation bin. And the reality is that those books are probably just going to go to landfill. Well, they were, because most of them I had to toss. They just had no value. But that was somebody who personally bought all those books throughout their life, and the reason why, he really liked Shakespeare or Tolstoy. So he was maybe real read or something like that. Maybe he was a doctor or lawyer. I always wonder what their professions were, that kind of thing. I can sometimes tell this guy was a doctor. Oh, you can tell lawyers, they're real easy. There's lawyer books, you just know it, right? So you get into these bins, and then you find a book that affects you, and you look at it and you go, wow, maybe I should keep that book. Those kind of things. It's interesting how that plays out. So my philosophy on the picking is, I love to find things, but I also am intrigued as to why it was there, so to speak. Why did somebody leave that very vintage amplifier that was there and part of their life, and all of a sudden now it's gone? It's like my father. When I saw my father had an influence on me musically, so I can still see that Marantz amplifier with the beautiful blue dial, and that's in my head. So when I pick these up, I always go back to that. So it's just interesting to see what goes on in a bin, and there's levels within a bin, right? You can see the kids stuff, and then you'll see the technical stuff or something. You just see all this stuff. It works on my head, and I like to think of picking it a little bit different than that. That kind of thing. I just picking up an object and selling it. I kind of wonder, why did they throw this beautiful, like today in Savers, one of my picker friends got a beautiful Fritz Floyd Santa Claus. It's gorgeous. And I thought, why'd they throw that away? That's kind of the way I thought, right? It's like, why'd they give that away? Just no longer needed it. I don't know why. But I was kind of intrigued today because you'll see some of the books I got, and then why I called this book bin the trauma bin. And I don't know, I just said this is my trauma bin today. And we'll go over a few of those books, and then we'll see something that, affected me also in that bin. So my videos are going to be a little bit different. They're not going to be just, hey, show you something. I'm going to try and give you something else. So hopefully it gets, you get a little bit of value out of it overall. But I just don't like to just throw up, constantly, hey, I got this, I sold that. That's great, but I got to give you some other tidbits that I think about. All right, so we'll show you a couple of books just to kind of give you an idea of what was going through my mind as I'm picking the books. Now, I did really well today. I did pretty good for Amazon. Amazon, I probably got I want to say $300 to $400 worth of net profit on the book. So I probably did really well there. So I'm happy. And we'll go over some things that we found, which wasn't much, but again, I got to show you the good, the bad, and the middle. I can't just show you the good all the time. That's just not fair to you. And I got to give you the reality of picking. That's part of this game, is the truth. It's like, hey, not every day do I go out there and knock it out the park. It just doesn't happen that way. There's days where you just got to grind it out and just keep going and hope something falls in your lap. That's all you can do. All right, so let's look at a couple of books and just you kind of get the idea of what I was looking at. So the first one I saw was, well, one of the ones is like this one, Trauma Release, The Revolutionary Trauma Release Process. And this was kind of all in the same area of books, so you start to get a little thing. Take Your Life Back, How to Stop Letting the Past and Other People's Control You. DVD on that, Trauma Release. PTSD, Time to Heal. Again, this one was just another strange book, but it kind of fell into some things. Emotional Anatomy. I see a lot of bins that have psychotherapy kind of in them. I guess that's just people trying to figure out life. And I see a lot of that. I haven't run into a lot of Bibles recently. It's been kind of slow on Bibles coming out of bins, or a lot of religious stuff. I do see a lot of religious stuff, but lately I kind of haven't. Here's another one. It's like okay, the Alzheimer's antidote. So this is people with things going on in their life, right? So somebody here with this book, had a relative or is affected by Alzheimer's. Other ones have trauma, PTSD, and there were more. I just showed you a couple here that were just kind of in there. There were some more books that were in there, about trauma and PTSD that I got. Another one was, this was kind of interesting, The Art of Ritual, Creating and Performing Ceremonies for Growth and Change. Again, this is all like people trying to figure out something, in their life. It's fascinating. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, I'll be bored to death if I'm just, you saw the video of me tossing books. So I kind of sometimes stop, look, maybe open it up, look at it. It's very interesting to me. All right. Let me show you two that I'm going to keep. Okay. So occasionally I keep some. It's rare. I don't like to, I can get out of control here, but generally speaking, I will keep a lot of art books. So here's one here. You know that I love Monet. Monet is my favorite artist. What makes Monet a Monet? Very thin book, very simple book. So this will be an interesting little read for me, just kind of for myself. So it doesn't hurt to pick some of those up sometimes. Now here was the other one I'm going to keep. Well, I'm going to show you one more. This one here is very cool for me. Sauces. James Peterson, Classic and Contemporary Sauce Making. If some of you watched some of my videos, I did go to cooking school for about 7-8 months. I really enjoyed it. My wife signed me up for cooking school, and I really enjoyed that. And I love cooking, so I'm going to use some sauces out of this book. So again, when you run into cookbooks, you run into just people who love to cook, basically. That's it. So I found this one. All right, the other one I'm going to keep, Striking Thoughts. Bruce Lee, Wisdom for Daily Living. I've got a couple pages marked because I stood there and I started to read it, and I said, you know what, that's a keeper. That's a keeper for me. So I thought, hey, what's in here for us? Anything in here for us? So I picked out a few, and I'm going to read them. Just check them out. All right. This one's on fear. Remember Bruce Lee, one of the tough guys, right? Great martial artist, that kind of thing, but fear. He goes, understanding fear. To understand your fear is the beginning of really seeing. And, you know, again, that's really true, right? I mean, you have to understand your fear. Now, I'm getting to the point where we're going to talk about the fear of maybe jumping the next level in your business or trying to get your own business. There's a real fear there, right? You just don't know. It's unknown, right? You just don't know it. So you got to overcome that fear to see it. So I've done it many times in my life. I've gone from, you know, nothing to building to back to this, all over the place. So I kind of have an idea of that. But that's an interesting one about fear. And let's find another one. Shame is fear of humiliation at one's inferior status in the estimation of others. That's the truth, right? So think about that. Now, I personally I didn't know what I was going to do with YouTube. I have no presence. I worry about just the same things that you worry about. You know, are people going to dislike my videos? Whatever. You know, am I not going to be good enough? So yeah, it's kind of poignant. You know, shame is the fear of humiliation at another one's expense, right? It's like you're worried about a negative comment. You're worried about how your hair looks. You know, some people don't like my glasses. Well, there's a reason why I wear the glasses, because I have an eye condition that if I get wind and stuff in my eyes, they water like crazy, and I'll just stand here and go crazy with you guys. I'd love to take them off, and I will. I take them off in the house, but you know, so somebody might say a comment about that. So this fear of humiliation, right? And we get it as resellers. So let's put it towards resellers. How do we get it towards resellers? How many times does somebody come up to you and say, hey, what do you do? And you go, oh man, that's not good. I'm a reseller. Well, what's that? You're not a policeman, you're not a judge, you're not a fireman, you're a reseller. And they get confused, or they don't know, right? But you have this, so there's this little fear of the shame, right? Of being, there's no shame in being a reseller. If they knew what we made, they'd be thinking twice, right? That's the crazy thing about it. I'm in these thrift stores all the time. What do they think I'm doing? Do they think that I'm here just to hoard? Maybe some people are doing that. I'm sure there are. Obviously there are. That's why they have Hoarders, the TV show. But again, I'm a reseller and I make a living reselling. There's no shame in that. None. Tell people what you do. Get out and do it. Show them, hey, you know what? When they see what you're doing, that you're going on vacations, you're doing this, you're doing that, there you go, right? That's the ultimate right there. I'll tell you right now, this is straight up the truth. You know it. Most people who work for somebody else don't like it. It's not rocket science, folks. They're under the control of the business and the corporation and so forth. There is no freedom, so to speak. You have some people have earned some freedoms, but they still are under the control of the corporation. When to take your vacation, days off, guess what? We got a special project, we need extra hours, all of that. So being somebody like me, a reseller who has my own little business going, is priceless. You can't put a price on that. So anyhow, it just gets back to don't be shameful that you're a reseller. There's nothing ever wrong with that, okay? Many people now who see what I do, including my wife. My wife is probably the one who was like very skeptical at first, right? She even had that skepticism. But she now sees what's going on and has embraced it and said, wow, look at this. What did you find today? You know, blah, blah, blah. There you go, right? We're making good money. It's weird. So don't be afraid of that shame factor, all right? All right, let's hop into, one more thing. Now this is the last thing. This is about the bin. I almost forgot the most important thing, but here it is. Check this out, all right? This is what I found in the bin. There you go. I found this in the bin. And this is what gave me the inspiration to kind of talk about today's video a little bit and the personal things you find inside the bins. This is somebody's photo album. I'm going to show you it. It's not just a photo album. It's put together super well. I mean, it's got writing on it. Look at people. It's maps of where they've been. I mean, really well put together. I mean, this is just somebody's life in a book. And, I just go on and on and on. Look at New York Times Square. Try to get it all in there for you guys. Times Square. I am tall, but, still have to stand up. But all this is their life history. And somebody threw it away, and I came upon it. And I turned to the guy who was working next to me, Jose, one of the other pickers doing clothing. I said, take a look at this. It's somebody's life inside here. So, they just tossed it in the bin. They had to have known what it was. And it's kind of strange to me. That's the kind of stuff that perplexes me. Why did it end up there? Did they just have too many albums and this one they didn't need? It seems like this one's really well put together. I mean, we keep, it's funny how you'll keep maybe stuff from your grandparents, great-grandparents from the 1930s, the 1800s, that kind of thing. It seems like nowadays it's like people just, we move on. I don't know, is my life going to end up in a bin? A bin at the Goodwill and the Savers? I hope not. I don't know. It's just something strange to talk about. That's all, guys. That's what it is about this. So now you get a little in depth about what I'm thinking when I'm doing a bin. Crazy me, right? Kind of crazy. All right, let's take a look at. Basically, all I got was 4 items. That's it, 4 items. Nothing great, but we're going to take a look at them so we can move on to another subject. Interesting, an ashtray. Now, I don't do ashtrays. I know Kevin, the Commonwealth picker, my great friend Kevin, he would pick them up. But I picked this one up because it kind of had a handle, and I only paid $3 at Goodwill. And you can kind of see it. Very cool. It's German. It says it's made in West Germany. $3. I don't know what I'm going to get for it. We'll have to do some research on it, but I'm sure it's not too much. It's probably $30 max, maybe a little more. But we'll take a look at it. It's an interesting ashtray. Again, nothing fantastic. A little tournament chess set, Staunton chess set, very interesting. All the pieces are there, obviously, and I paid. Oh, I got this at my honey hole. I paid $1 for this, so can't go wrong. I'll sell it. Who knows what I'm going to get for it? Say $20 roughly. But Christmas is coming up, fourth quarter, that kind of thing. Maybe somebody wants a nice vintagey type chess set. So $1 on that one. Oh, right here. All right, back to golf. Back to the golf. Here we go. This is what we call. I'll have to get it back. There's made by a company called Ping. Everybody, if you're looking for golf, you're going to be looking for Ping as one of the brands. It's very small. Got it from my honey hole thrift store. Paid $1. This is what we call a Sunday bag. And if you take a look in there, it's very small. Maybe holds 3 or 4 clubs and a few golf balls in the bag and pouch. It's called a Sunday bag. That means like you might play just putzing around on a Sunday at your club, and you just throw a few clubs in there. You're going to go chip. Instead of just carrying them, you have a Sunday bag. But they sell pretty well. This should get me about $65. So I've got a chess set at 20, 65 here. You're looking at 135 just on those 2 items right there. So keep your eye out for these Sunday bags. I've sold them before. All right, one big item, bigger. Here we go. Spin it around. Karaoke machine by Voca Pro. And I paid a little bit for this. I paid $25 with my discount at Goodwill. I'm thinking we're going to get about $140 plus some shipping. So we're probably going to be around $200 out the door on the karaoke amplifier. And I'm going to show you one more because this book I did not get at Goodwill, but to show you that you can find some books elsewhere. This came out of the Honey Hole thrift store. It was $1, and it is automotive manual. And this one is the 1998 Toyota Sienna, And it's a pretty thick book. There you go. Pretty in-depth on repair. This is about a $40 to $50 book. So keep your eye out for car manuals, okay? They do sell well. I've sold almost every one I have. I only have one more left, and this one now, and they sell really well. Some can take a little time, but they will sell. All right, that is it from here. We'll do solds next time. I like to keep my videos about 20 minutes long, and it's showing me at 19 minutes, so we'll keep it there. All right, hey, we'll be a little different on our channel. Eventually, it's going to be even more different. But really want to thank you all again for watching. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. It's going to get good. It's going to get good. All right, thanks again, guys. We'll see you soon.